Long time no see, especially in this format. It's Saturday for us today, and congratulations to you for Saturday. In our wonderful place, it means the day is a bit freer than usual, more free time. I actually took time off, so to make direct contact from my attic. In general, let's dispel a myth right away. I'm not in a black rehab. They don't tie me up here. I don't get beaten with sticks for swearing nor injected with haloperidol. Everything is very humane, very cool. We can use phones, well, at strictly designated times. And snack. Awesome snack. We have our first stream in half a year today, probably. The last time was when I was running around the mountains and throwing stones, and the first sober stream. Brew yourself some tea or something because today's story will be amazing. I want to tell you how I ended up here, how life led me to this. Let's just say, spoiler alert, it's not heavy kittens. Let's make a deal right now. It's much more interesting here. I'll tell you how I truly went insane, about my genuine psychosis. As psychiatrists say, I'll tell you about the consequences, about the relationships that were destroyed, about the tons of money I lost in my fit of madness. I have some exclusive content for you today. I'll show you Vasya's comment from the list about what happened behind the scenes. I'll show you what happened during the filming of The Last Love, but that's important. You'll understand a little later. And a few words about my Great Depression too. I'll throw in about how I went through it. And it does exist, by the way, yes. Sorry for constantly joking about it. And at the end, some popular questions from Insta. And of course, we're chatting. Okay. Got ready to listen to amazing stories from the attic. As a matter of fact, I ended up in rehab after realizing there was something wrong with me. Perhaps you, from the side, as observers, understood this for a long time, but I denied any disorders, dependencies, and most importantly, the harm of these dependencies until the last moment. In podcasts and interviews, I constantly said that I would drink all my life, I am immortal, I control everything, I am a titan, you are shrimps, and you don't understand anything. Well, this is the logical finale. The titan is now streaming from rehab. I'll begin a bit earlier. I've long observed dramatic mood swings within myself. At one moment, I feel like an invincible god, overwhelmingly confident and self-assured, and in the very next moment, I completely feel like an absolute nobody with no worth at all. And so somewhere in the middle is where I very, very rarely manage to be. You may even have noticed this if you've been following me for a long time. One moment I'm the greatest blogger, the next I'm deleting my channel, and then I'm a blogger again. This can even be traced through the interviews. In the interview with Dud, I'm a king. In the interview with Sobchak in the Moscow First, I'm sad. In the interview with Gordon, I'm king. Then, I don't know, the trip to Dubai, I'm sad again. During the last party, I really turned into a complete devil, behaving wildly and recklessly. I was constantly in motion, being shaken in every conceivable direction. Meanwhile, I was recklessly tossing substances and alcohol into this personal chaos, further destabilizing my mental state. It's actually more accurate to say I wasn't just destabilizing it, I was completely destroying it. Added to all this chaos, of course, was the immense and incessant pressure of constant pursuits, bans, and the necessity of relocating from place to place without rest. It's important to recall that all of this hit me abruptly when I was just 21 years old, bringing with it an overwhelming amount of fame. An enormous amount of money came my way at 22. Second place on Forbes list, restaurants in the center of Moscow, a mansion in Novi Istra, sports cars. By 23, I had to leave my homeland. At 24, I was labeled a foreign agent with that label, yes. And now it's like my halo. And at 25, I'm getting kicked out of Dubai. In short, sooner or later, the roof was bound to leak. And finally, it happened. I was filming a video about being kicked out of Dubai. And there, precisely in Bali, yes, in that magical place, I started to experience this inexplicable uplift in mood. I remember starting to constantly stream. I really wanted to chat, show myself, be very active. And also, the success of the latest love. Yes, it really triggered me too. The stream is well known, yes, it broke all records. And very easy money, big money, yes. And the cherry on top of all this madness, the filming of the clip Last Love, I arrived on set already on edge. Those who watched the broadcasts remember me. 3 words for emphasis. I became very aggressive, started a war with frame timers and with rhymes and punchlines, and I was constantly crying, as you remember. At the slightest thing, I would start crying. I was extremely emotionally unstable, and so the climax happened when there was an explosion, quite literally an explosion on the set in the video. Then, as I remember now, it clicked in my head, and that was that. It started. After the shoot, I flew to Israel, where I completely lost my mind. Emotions were beyond control, and everything interesting began. Please take what I'm about to say seriously. It's not a joke or irony. Like, truly, honestly, my psychotic episode began. At first, I realized I was God. Then I realized, no, that's too much. I'm God's son. I am the devil in the flesh, and I'm sent here to carry out a great mission to save this world. And I began communicating with God. And as they say, when you communicate with God, it's good, but when He answers you, that's when it's a clinic. And I came up with grand plans for saving the world. I started interpreting everything around me as signs, adding up all the numbers, car numbers, house numbers, shapes, colors. Everything added up to some sort of coherent picture, some divine plan. I became very paranoid. It seemed to me that the world was a simulation. Everything around me was either NPCs or Matrix agents. They are constantly watching me. Everyone who talks like this on the phone, they're filming me now. Everyone with a camera or a photo, they're definitely agents. This isn't up for discussion. I hid my phone under the pillow, under the blanket, and rehearsed my speech, my world-saving speech, which I will present to the presidents of different countries. I was sure that soon I would have a meeting with the presidents of different countries, and I needed to present them my world-saving plan. Maybe it's a pity I didn't go. But the thing was, it was important to note that it wasn't just a phase, it was a continuous, unchanging state of being, almost like being stuck in a loop. Remember those circles I posted at the end of the year where I was expressing things like, the sacred fire won't descend, I will ignite it, I'm the devil, and you will believe me that I'm the devil? Those circles, remember? The funny thing is, even amidst all of this, I was completely sober in that moment. I was sitting in a sauna after an intense workout session, simply recording this for my friends. So it wasn't some kind of hallucination or high where I had lost touch with reality. I remained in that state, this extraordinary state of mind, for 2 full months, 2 months without a break. And this sort of experience is what they clinically refer to as a psychotic episode. I learned about this a bit later, esteemed comrades, and alongside psychiatric evaluations, naturally, of course, I continued my habit of smoking. It's important to mention here that truly the only thing I ever indulged in was just purely smoking. Let's call it that. Yes, different herbs and alcohol. I didn't have anything else. And I stopped sleeping. I slept for 3-4 hours a day, then jumped out of bed and went to training, to boxing. I had endless energy, really. At the same time, I took on a lot of projects and invested money in them. I was talking to 20 people on the phone at the same time, giving everyone commands, spreading money everywhere. Well, I'm not going to list all the projects, but for you to understand, my main project was to build a prosperous state from scratch. I earnestly wanted with all my heart to be a mighty king. I started calling myself by the names of great kings, wrote a constitution. Damn. Well, spoiler, I closed all the projects afterwards. And I lost all the money. At that time, I was constantly flying on jets. And in general, I was throwing money around. By my rough estimate, I lost $2 million in those 2 months. Just into thin air. On the stream, I earned $1,000 and immediately lost two. Karma, maybe karma. The essence of schizo was captured at the party. And now I want to play a comment that Vasya recorded for me so you can listen to how it all sounded from the outside.
Party with Rishayim Tagirovich. First of all, you were in an alcoholic binge. And if for the first few days you behaved tolerably overall, despite strange growls and that devilish laughter, ha ha ha, and the slightly aggressive behavior at the interview, by the third or maybe the fourth day, you became unbearable. There were constant funny talks about gaming simulation, about who are the NPCs and who the real players are, and about the struggle real players against the world in the game Super Sore for the reason, what else it seems to me here after we shot the main parts of the vlog and went with you in the evening to have a cocktail. Sat drinking it, further parted ways to our homes on scooters too. As far as I remember, you went to Sheraton to the hotel, I went to the villa that I rented there, and in general on the way, the last message you didn't send, you rode a bike. A motorcyclist gave you a ride, you said, I am becoming a biker, buying a bike. So they eventually began or opened their sleep around 7 a.m. I bizarrely heard this wild shoulder-shaking laughter, truly devilish in nature. It made me wonder in amazement about the wild nature of the partying, how the Israelis were truly having the time of their lives. They were really enjoying and letting loose, it seemed, completely immersed in their revelries. So, one of our operators, Rustam, writes, "Can you even hear what's happening?" I ask, "What's going on?" He says, "Morgen burst in, and it's like he was possessed by demons. He's just causing this unbelievable fuss. I found you in the morning, and there was an open bottle sitting there. A half-drunk one. You're curled up in a ball, and next to you, there's a puddle. Maybe it was some hooligans who peed on the floor, could be. Not that you hadn't sinned before, no. Wasn't sure if Freud would say it's a slip, but, you know, a puddle of booze or something else. Anyway, when we went to Jerusalem, you became completely unmanageable. It was like genuine devils were inside you, aggressive ones. Funny thing though, when everyone left in the morning, Kolya came home and wrote in the chat like, "Hey guys, help, Morgan's running around the place naked, making me take photos and videos to send to the chat, doing blackmail stuff. But you know, we save everything for better times. Though, honestly, why don't we just post it right now?" And then, when we went to Jerusalem, there is footage where you're filming, you went to shoot in the men's toilet, capturing the guys on camera as they chat and hang out. Then you begin to comment on the scenes, using your camera to film yourself as well. It was a pretty tough time, and the last day was particularly uncontrollable for everyone involved. You ended up confronting someone inside a car, saying things out of disbelief that they would eventually produce big hits. You expressed things that could potentially land you in trouble, legal or otherwise, crossing different boundaries. It seemed like you were in a fragile, broken state, almost on the verge of a nervous breakdown, possibly experiencing some sort of significant emotional collapse. Regardless of everything, I'm truly glad that overall you managed to get through this difficult period. But if the show...
That's how the party went down. Behind the scenes, much more interesting things were happening. I won't remind you how I was in constant conflict with everyone then, how I was lashing out at everyone. I was aggressive. Everyone seemed like an enemy back then. What's unpleasant about all this is that I not only lashed out at enemies to enemies, but also at the closest people over such trifles that it's embarrassing to remember. And then it started to let go, even though I kept smoking and drinking. But somehow the craziness started to let go by itself after 2 months of this period. And then I turned around and looked at all of it, with whom I had fallen out, how much money I wasted, and it was like letting it go myself. Psychiatrist, That's when I got my first preliminary diagnosis of bipolar disorder. And the psychiatrist revealed a very frightening secret to me. So, listen up, young ones. It turns out that what is considered the lightest and most natural substance, yes, weed, turns out it drives people insane. It triggers those so-called schizoid genes. And it's definitely not the safest or most natural substance. I was told then to quit immediately, or I'd end up a patient in a psychiatric clinic. And now, August 29th, I remember like it was yesterday, 156 days without weed. From that very first visit to the psychiatrist. So there's already a small win. You can congratulate me. How is it done? Like this, right? Well, and what did you think? Each day I felt worse and worse until I finally fell into my first real depression. So, chapter 2 of our amazing story, the Great Depression of Morgenstern. Let's call it that. I shut myself in a room, drew the curtains, and stopped taking care of myself. I hated waking up. When I woke up, I took sleeping pills to sleep even more, to avoid coming into this reality, to not see it, to not notice it. I simply hated myself every second. I looked in the mirror and wanted to tear the skin off my face because I felt like I was the most horrible person in the world. I wasn't worthy of living, of socializing with people. I wasn't worthy of showing myself at all. I was a nobody. And this feeling tears you apart from the inside. And every waking second you spend in total self-hatred. It seems, yes, from the outside, it seems like everything's fine, like you have everything, you have close people, a roof over your head, food to eat, you don't have to worry about tomorrow, and there's some money in your pocket. But all these reasons just turn to dust, legendary dust. You hear nothing, no one, no logic. Life is over for you. That's what depression is. I was also surprised that it works on a physical level. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't even make myself a cup of tea. I stirred my sugar with a shaking hand, barely managing. So, depression isn't just about feeling sad in your mind, right? This also manifests on a physical level. For me, it was a revelation that depression exists at all because I always joked about it. Again, I sincerely express my deepest sympathy to everyone who is going through such a difficult and challenging stage right now. Just remember that this too shall pass with time. In parallel, I also consulted psychiatrists seeking help and visited 6 specialists. Interestingly, 5 of them confirmed that I had bipolar disorder type 1. In short, bipolar disorder is when your mood swings from a stage of extreme mania to feeling like divinity, or sometimes like the devil, yes, if you can call it that, and then swinging to feelings of worthlessness and severe depression, even feeling like life is over. They ended up prescribing me a bunch of medications. Among them were neuroleptics and antipsychotics, normotimics, antidepressants, and Xanax. Why do I emphasize it so much? You'll see, I was prescribed Xanax in case of SOS, yes, in an emergency. For a while I took some pills, then I said screw it all, and I started binging on Xanax, antidepressants, and washing it all down with wine. If they prescribed it for emergencies, I was consuming 3, 4 pills a day, piling on antidepressants and washing everything down with alcohol. And surprise, things got worse every day. For 3 months, I lived like this in a dark, curtained room, isolating myself completely from the world around me. I only went out to the studio once and to perform at concerts, after which I couldn't stand, as they say. My tolerance increased, leading to the dose gradually creeping up more and more each week. I had already reached 5 pills a day with antidepressants, along with alcohol, and this led to the decision to go to rehab, because I admitted to myself that I wouldn't stop on my own. I can't. I can't stop, that's it, and here I am, folks, on detox now. They're gradually reducing my doses of antidepressants, Xanax and alcohol has been out of my life for 15 days now. Currently, I'm down to one Xanax pill a day, even though I started with 5 tomorrow. We will reduce even more. Why am I highlighting Xanax? It's supposedly a pharmacy drug too, a trendy one, but it's such a nasty thing, it breaks me so badly. They reduce it by zero point 0.5, and on that day, I'm just shattered, like it's totally breaking me apart as if, let's not say it out loud. So, take note, there are no safe substances. It's all deceptive. Don't congratulate me on anything yet. What's 15 days sober anyway? That's just the beginning.
What are you talking about? I plan to spend the entire 25th year sober. Everything is the best.
The hardest part is yet to come. I can't even call myself completely sober yet because I'm still detoxing. I don't know what awaits me. I need to learn to live all over again. I lived 15 years in addiction. I don't know how to enjoy simple things, you know. For me, my whole life was through the prism of using some substances, altered consciousness, alcohol. It's all the same. I don't know what to expect, in short. But I don't want to expect anything. I'm just ready for things to be shitty. I've already accepted it. I'm glad I'm in a good place for this. I'm right in an excellent center where they're watching over me, where everything is very. I'm happy with my choice. So, do I want to summarize all of this somehow? This whole beautiful story? Don't take after Morgenstern. I just sometimes recall how I proudly said in Dud's interview, we're normal guys, we love to party. Well, remember what I said there on 30 million views across the whole country, damn it. Is that an example? I don't want to play the role of an example. But just, well, you didn't have to say it like that. How I praise the mushrooms all the time, how I generally praise the rock and roll lifestyle, all that showing off with using, it's all complete bullshit. Here's the result streaming to you from rehab. Well, let me remind you, at least I still have money, yeah? To get treated in a good place, and the money I lost, well, at least I didn't go into debt. Unlike you, it could be worse. So here's a living example for you. Great, let's play the role of an example of what not to do. Now let's have some questions. Should we start with chat or sans? I don't even know, you're a punk, damn. Yes, being a bank is really cool, but it turns out there is such a thing as consequences, you know? I'm lucky that I haven't completely destroyed my psyche, that I have something to recover from. But how long will it take to recover? I don't know. Learning to live again, to enjoy all of this, well, I wouldn't wish this on you. No thrill, that fleeting momentary one, is worth it. Consequences, damn, exist. I always said you have to live like it's your last day. No, you should live as though tomorrow will also have a tomorrow. Shariki do album. Promise to announce the date. February 14th, for all the lonely hearts to have something to do, they say it's karma. Well, maybe it's karma. Karma is the consequences. This is how I treated my life, and now I'm paying for it. How long did the depression last? 3 months. For 3 months I was lying in a darkened room. It dragged on like hell, infinitely stretching hours. What I'm saying, it felt like infinity dragging on. Now I'm more or less okay, at least I am. Right now, I don't want to die, even though it's quite embarrassing to admit this kind of weakness, but in this dreadful and overwhelming state of mind, I actually Googled how to painlessly end a career in a manner that wouldn't be disastrous. You get what I'm saying, right? Yes, I've unfortunately reached that point of despair. Don't ask me about my personal life, please. We simply don't discuss those private matters online anymore. Let me quickly go over some questions from Insta and then we'll chat. Oh, well, today I prepared just royally. So, how long will it take to fully recover? How long will you be in rehab? The full program takes 6 months. The simplified program is 3 months. I really hope that 3 months will be enough for me. However, I feel great here. Just like home. As strange as it may sound, I actually really enjoy the feeling of waking up in the morning and not having to immediately think about or plan for flying somewhere in the near future. But deep down, I have this immense desire to tour concerts, to engage more deeply with music, and all of that other artistic stuff that comes with it. So, with all that in mind, I genuinely and sincerely hope that I can somehow get out of this early. Right now, I'm thinking of 3 months. As soon as I realize I'm ready, I'll fly out of here immediately. I won't fool myself. What do you recommend to people with depression? Seek help, definitely. Discuss it with those close to you. If you don't have close ones, seek help again. And most importantly, remember that everything will pass. Eventually, all of it will pass. What have you been running away from all this time? From loneliness, from timidity. I'm naturally shy. It's not hard for me to perform before thousands of people, but in life, I'm a very shy person. I've always loved to postpone solving problems to tomorrow and set up a little charcuterie board, grab a bottle of wine, and not think about anything. What did I realize in my 26 years? That I understand nothing. That's what I've realized in my 26 years. Don't waste time and drink. So is there depression? Yes? Yes. Now that's a very interesting question. You've spoken about depression, yes. Additionally, there's much discussion for some unknown reason all over the internet about this matter. They question whether you truly made a pact with the devil or not. Allow me to explain it like this. There was a moment in my life, if we assume it wasn't just a false memory, back when I was approximately 15, 16 years old during my youth. I remember feeling a sense. I once asked the devil himself for fame and notoriety. Imagine that it really happened, so after that you can decide for yourself whether to believe this or not. Considering the way I'm paying for it now, maybe I should believe it. It's indeed a curious question, especially because it's the clinic that asks, why is the word death inscribed on your cheek? You've expressed numerous times through your actions and words that one should look in the mirror daily, reflecting constantly on the reality that death can occur at any given moment. This has always been a profound message. However, at this juncture I feel like I'm just a fool. Do you ever ponder on when exactly everything took a turn for the worse? There were countless instances, so many of them, that singling out one is impossible. They were simply quite liked, as strange as that may sound. What is the strength of loneliness? I can't answer what the strength is, but I can say that loneliness is a scary thing and a person needs a person because all these 3 months spent in a closed room. No, at present nothing. No strength yet as far as I can see. Maybe it would be considered trendy to respond by saying that one might be able to know themselves better when they're alone with themselves, but I'm not certain. I only perceive pain in it, and that's really all. So, what would you say to yourself if you had the chance? I'd say, hey, listen, this is me from the future. Look, here's the deal. I'm successful now, popular and rich, but I could have been even happier, truly happier, if I didn't drink so much and didn't use drugs so excessively. What do you think about this, and now will it be old Licia or is it time to accept it? Depends on what old Licia is for you. What if the norm in the world is only antidepressants? Finding the reason is probably hard. I can't answer. I'm still on antidepressants, so I'll let you know as soon as I find out. What will you do with property in Russia? Well, what to do with seized assets? Write letters, maybe send some packages. What is happiness for you? I don't know, haven't figured it out yet. I also have saved up questions and don't know how to answer them, damn. Well, haven't figured it out yet, basically. What's strength? In love and in truth. Well, no, I think neither option will work out successfully. Without simply having a clear mind and sober judgment, I find it challenging to make the right decision. So, for now, the answer for me is to maintain a reasonably sober mindset and judgment. That's the correct way to decide on the style of the upcoming album, after Rebbe. After Ribby, well, learn to live anew, obviously. I won't say in what style the album will be. That's just to stroke my ego. I do. Please come to the concerts. The next concerts we play sober. I'll celebrate my birthday. It's, by the way, in two strands. I came constantly thinking about it. And on one hand, you want to say that there's no meaning in life at all, but on the other hand, the meaning is in looking for meanings. You see, because for every individual person, the meaning of life is deeply personal, intimately personal. There's no universal one, right? It really doesn't exist. The point, the crux of the matter, is to find your own meaning and search for that understanding again and again, persistently, relentlessly, because at different periods in life, the meanings and interpretations differ greatly and vary widely. So, for now, maybe let's skip visiting this theme in depth. I went through such people that my attitude towards people became very distrustful, extremely distrustful. I'm working on it, and I'm very lucky to have really good guys here at the center, my peers, my classmates, so to speak. I'm learning to build relationships anew, to socialize, yes, sort of with a clear head now, because I used to be really scared of people. Really scared. And I am very distrustful towards everyone. But you can't live like that. Why am I listening sober? For example, everything. To change your life and gather in the past, but again, obviously wouldn't drink like how does your day go? Daily routine, I get up every day at 8 a.m., have some coffee, morning routine, take a cold shower, all that stuff. Then 4 times a day we have group sessions. We sit in a circle. We're discussing some topic or listening to a lecture, and everyone takes turns to introduce themselves, just like in those films, in those groups, right? Only I thought, when I say, Alisher is addicted, everyone will say, hello, Alisher, all together like this. And here everyone says, we love. And it's so cute, this little tradition. We love. 3 meals a day, free time in the afternoon and in the evening. Sometimes there are also meetings with psychologists and meals 3 times a day. Well, basically, such a nice rehabilitation sanatorium. Well, ask me this a year ago, I would have said yes. Now, I probably think no. You're a lonely person, how do you cope with that? Well, as I've already said, I'm learning to build relationships, to communicate with people, not to be shy, not to be afraid of them. I think it's better to trust people, even if sometimes we get hurt, rather than isolating ourselves completely. It's better this way, reminding me of what Sobchak once said, what Morgen dreamt about back in 2018, and what Slava dreamt about when they were 18, was all about money, fame, and fans. But now, their dreams have shifted focus and are more about seeking health and creating a sense of overall well-being. So, do you feel you've hit bottom? Yes, but I don't want to jinx it, because if what happened a couple of months ago wasn't the bottom, then I don't want to know what else will happen. The main addiction is alcohol, 100%. Needs are fulfilled by using, answered that already. The concerts will definitely happen. We're planning something, but not soon. I think maybe in the coming months, like in May or in the fall, something like that. You had nothing, now everything. Where's the happiness? What did the money give you? The fact that I'm in an awesome place for treatment now, that's what the money gave me. And the fact that my family doesn't worry about whether there will be food tomorrow or not. Safety is what the money gave me. And everything, where happiness is, that's all ahead. In search of how strongly the album will show the personality of Dari, both well as much as there in general, the album will be all about how I lived through this period. You will soon hear already when and your last time when flew to Rehab. I had a concert extremely Phuket, and from there direct flight 12 hours. And all these 12 hours, I just senya chill everything that I could try, all the cocktails on board, all the drinks, still pills on top. Through in general, perfectly spent my period of consumption, so to speak, that you feel after they declared you wanted nothing. I don't feel it's right to express it that way. Something doesn't sit well with me, you know? By the way, during one of the therapy sessions I attended, I came across a particularly intriguing statement that really caught my attention.
When we feel too much, we feel nothing.
That is, the brain is already so overstressed that it shuts everything down. And at the moment, I just don't feel anything. Let's see what happens next. Do you feel that your fans have become part of your therapy? Yes, definitely yes. When I posted this post with the results of the year, I stepped over myself because I'm not used to showing myself weak on the internet. We're only supposed to show on the net how cool you have it, damn it, yes. And when I posted this, I was totally taken aback by how overwhelming the support was. Sorry for the language, but it was so incredible and it gave me such a powerful energy boost. Honestly, this support was so uplifting that I managed to pull through and complete the last two concerts with such vibrant energy and enthusiasm. Like when I was in Bali or Phuket, the experience never left my mind. I just and proudly flew to Rehab, so thank you so much once again. It really is a heartfelt support from people who genuinely care. I must admit I never really believed in it, the power of this community support, but it truly works wonders. The main insight I gained during those dark times, or the so-called black streak, is the realization that it will all end sooner or later, that it is not forever. A bad state, any bad state, will indeed come to an end, sooner or later. This insight, this revelation just really hit me when I came to understand it. I just really like the question how it composed. Was it difficult to fully realize the deep-rooted problems and overcome the strong conviction that everything is just fine? Even now, I still often wrestle with the thought that sometimes, yes, maybe I can drink socially, thinking I can control it. I tell myself, yes, I'm very healthy, and yes, I have that resilience. But then I recall all the things that transpired with me over the past year, and I realize, no, I really can't. I just chase away all this crap. That's why it's hard and still hard. The main intention for this year is to stay sober. So that's the last one. Let it remain as a motto. That's it, chat. I'm all yours. Let's chat. Have you been to Vipassana? No, never been. Snippets? There won't be snippets. Nope. On the 14th, you'll listen to the album. No snippets at all. Besides, where would I shoot a snippet? Here, in the attic? How many tracks on the album? 5. I wanted 6, but I decided I'm no longer a devil, and I can't touch that number. Are you afraid of the 27 Club? Well, not anymore. As the classic said, at 27 you need to kill the rock star in yourself and not die yourself. So that's what I'm doing now. T. Do you read books? I've started reading now, yes. I suddenly wanted to become, educated, well-read, to speak more coherently, to be able to express my thoughts. I've already had enough rock and roll in my life. I'm currently reading about emotional intelligence. I want to explore myself more. I've always rushed on impulses and I realized I don't know myself at all. So, what stopped me from ending my career, well, if you mean ending my career, then the thought that there's always time to finish stopped me. Well, I can always end my career later. You see, I've already had so many experiences and adventures. It's time to try to live a little more in the present, see what the world has to offer today. Do you think you've improved? Yeah, I realized everything, guys, and believe it's like they say. Not only at the beginning of the journey, but the toughest part is still ahead. I dream of rivers, by the way, like yesterday when it was exactly 2 weeks. I've changed quite a lot and discovered a desire to know myself better just 2 weeks ago. Since I gave up alcohol, I've been dreaming that I'm drinking with friends at a dacha in Ufa. I dreamed about it all night. Exactly 2 weeks later, I woke up like this. So happy. Now, I have to completely reassess my life. It's no longer possible to just hang out and drink with friends. It's not possible. Or rather, it is possible, but we all know where that'll lead again. Guys, please don't ask me where I am exactly, alright? Maybe later, when I get out of here, I'll do a room tour or review for you. And don't ask me about my personal life either. Chamomile tea is calming, herbal. I'm going to be a tea drunkard now. I wanted to explore the world of teas, this culture. How and what, I think Zubarev will help me out just fine with it. How many years has he been sober? Around 20 or 15 years he moves on teas. Am I listening to music right now? Well, only my own album, to be honest.
On the whole, I'm a bit out of touch with what's currently happening in the music scene. Right now, I'm just listening to my own album, Top Rock Bands by Morgenstern, Guns N' Roses, Sum 41 and Pantera. Want to visit Ufa? Well, of course I would. The concert in Uzbekistan, folks, well, how can I say, there's this little issue, I'm wanted, so probably not anytime soon. And Minsk too, I don't think it's a suitable option. It's quite a pleasant surprise that today we gathered around 40,000 online on a blocked platform. Hooray! Not all is lost yet. I'm popular. I'm popular. Where are your nervous tics? By the way, I wasn't twitching my eyes just now, right? The whole broadcast, I haven't done it. I just don't notice. I guess I just feel comfortable here with you. And so I don't twitch. It's funny, I didn't notice that. There were panic attacks. Sometimes I had them, especially when I was binge drinking. Oh, it's horrible. I talked about it at your parties. Thanks for the childhood. You're welcome. You're an example for me, honestly, bro. I sincerely hope I'm an example, but not in the twisted way that I'm merely a freak or an outcast. Hope an example of what not to be. I would love to have that influence. I think this is one of my future directions. I would like to lead or be at the forefront of a meaningful sobriety movement. Russian means sober, and in a sense, I'll be the new Misha Malashi. Anyway, seems like it's time to wrap up. The internet can't handle it either.